is that you called Sid Andy's shadow. And I wonder if you can explain what that even means and then talk about what you mean.
Okay. So in depth work, which we do a lot of depth work, right? Which is looking at the parts of ourselves and like archetypes and unconscious and all these things, right? Shadow is the way, at least I always conceptualize it, which might not be the Jungian definition or whatever we want to say, right?
Jung would say whatever way you do it
is That's such a good therapist. Whatever okay with you. I'm guilty of doing that all the time. So for me, a shadow is, if we're looking at a light, anything that's behind us that we can't see is the shadow, right? It's the part of ourselves that we don't know, we can't see. Sometimes our shadow is nice parts of ourselves that we reject, and sometimes our shadow are not nice parts of ourselves that we reject. Like I think I said it earlier today, right? Like I'm a hard worker. Like I'm kind of a go-getter. I'm kind of maybe a little too overconfident, right? My shadow is lazy.
Yeah.
Like I reject the lazy part of me. So when I see laziness in others, it irritates the crap out of me. So that's kind of like the entry level of like understanding for me what shadow is.
Yeah. So shadow is like the part that attacks your consciousness. So I think a way that, keeping it thematic with Disney, that I always like to talk about it is shadow is Scar, right? Like Mufasa literally talks about, the shadowy space that we don't go towards, right? This is Mufasa indicating that we don't go there.
Yeah.
And so then we have Scar, who loves being in the shadow, who eventually actually takes down Mufasa. So it's a part of us that, if left unchecked, can take us down. So when you talk about Sid being Andy's shadow, I wonder if you can elaborate on what you picked up on.
So the way I looked at Sid, Andy likes to play with toys.
Yeah.
He has an innocence about him. Obviously, there's no character development for Andy.
Yeah.
Right? Up until even, the third movie, right?
Yeah,
he has a level of character development. But we don't really learn about, we just kind of have the experiences through the toys with him.
Yeah.
And through their experiences, he's loving, he's kind, he takes care of them, right? He plays with them. He serves the purpose of the toy, right?
Yeah.
Sid does the exact opposite. He doesn't play with them. He doesn't love them. He destroys them.
Yeah.
Right. For me, which was very opposite from Andy. And I always like to think of like our psyche on a spectrum.
Yeah.
Right. So if we're embracing one far end of the spectrum, the other side is maybe the shadow or the dark side. Right. If I'm so loving and so kind and so playful, is there a part of me that wants to destroy it? And I think of like even my own childhood. I had like a classic Superman toy.
Okay.
And I threw it up to the ceiling one time and it busted and like went into a bunch of pieces. And there's a part of me that was sad, but then there's a part of me that was like, that was kind of fun. Right? So there's this piece that I wonder if like Sid in a way is the dark side of what Andy could be.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Like that he likes to destroy toys.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not super nice. Right? Like when you think about him taking care of his sister, like he's always nice to her, he does that. Sid's not, right? Yeah. That maybe Sid could be that dark side that is in Andy, but never comes out.
So, first off, I want to validate it's okay to break DC toys because it's not Marvel. And then kind of in the second, as we talk about Sid, and right, there isn't that much character development, but something really stood out for me with Sid. And it's when I think he's kind of picking on his sister and kind of breaking her toys, she calls out for mom. And immediately Sid goes into denying his behavior. And so when we talk about shadow and we talk about like the light side and the shadowy side, we're not talking good and bad.
Yeah.
And so I think what allows or affords Andy to be in the lighter side is he gets that love, right? We see mom love him. Yeah. We see him having a working relationship with his family. There's minimal contact as we see it. And the one thing that we see of Sid is that he immediately has to go into defense mode. And I think that kind of pays respects to maybe Sid doesn't get the space that Andy gets. And so maybe this, the destruction and all of that kind of leans more on the desire for control that he doesn't have.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think that, right, showing what it could look like to have one side of us and how it kind of constellates, and understanding kind of what fosters those experiences.